Hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. Lovely to have your company. Well, normally we're miles and miles apart, but this week I feel that we're getting closer together. You know, Johnny, we're normally in boxes. I don't like these boxes. Should we get rid of it this week?
Yeah, get rid of it.
Okay.
This is the first time we've been live.
We're together in the same room, and it's a special room. It's the Grand Circle Bar. This is where you'd come after a show, maybe.
That's right.
What, back in 1969?
69, I was here. It must have been a success. I'm back already. But I remember that door over there. You used to go through there back into backstage. You have to have a little code.
To get in there. Yeah. But also, you know, this is the bar. We talked about it before with your mum and dad. I remember coming in here and seeing a poster.
Yeah.
It was Win Calvin,
yeah,
and your mum and dad. They were all in the music. When was that then?
Oh, that was in the 50s, 52, 53, something like that. I was a little kid. I came to see it with my granny. I can just remember it because I was obviously about 3 or 4 years old. And we lived in London at the time. And of course my parents were down here doing panto. So anyway, my granny brought me down to see it and I went backstage to see everybody. But I was used to it. I was used to being backstage because I was like toured around theatres with them as a kid, you know. Yeah. But
it's still a magic place, isn't it? I know that you're here today to speak to Ian Parsons about your memories of this theatre and other theatres around the place. That's a great project as well. But there's still a magic. You know, as I came in through the stage door this morning, I said, Al Pope, here for Johnny Tudor, and they usher you in. It's a great feeling being in a theatre backstage, and then you walk out onto the main stage itself.
I know, it's fantastic. I was saying to Ian earlier, the atmosphere in this theatre is so good. I mean, it's more warm than some theatres. I don't know if it's the Valley's people or what it is. There's a warmth, and they just catch on to everything you do. I came in and did a show I put together called Turn on the Taps. I don't know if I told you about it.
No, I haven't heard it.
It was me and 4 girl dancers, and I did all the tap dancers. I did like Sammy Davis, I did Gene Kelly, and the girls did all the routines of the beat, and it was like a 2-hour show. And it went like a bomb, and they loved it. Yeah. They loved it. I did Mr. Bojangles and all that stuff, you know.
Wow. Well, now then, that stage, because it's a big theatre, it's 1,000 seats, maybe even more, but because the way it's shaped, they're on top of you.
That's right.
You're right on top of you. I remember Michael Bogdanov saying about, talking about the warmth of an audience. You could always guarantee, whatever the show was, that people would be on your side from the start, so you didn't have to fight them.
Yeah.
And if they liked it, they'd be on their feet.
That's right. Bit different to a club where they say entertain.
That's right. Come on. Show us your best.
I remember doing a club once. I'm thinking it was in Celeste, and it wasn't the easiest. I'm struggling now. Yeah. And I get to a bit where I do a medley of Neil Sedaka songs, and I hit this big note, and some bloke went, "No, you're singing!" And a comic went on before me at Gurness, and he went, now, before I start, I haven't come here of my own free will. I was sent here, and you don't frighten me. That's before he started. But no, theatres are fantastic. It's just an atmosphere. Yeah. I just love the smell of the dust on the tabs and the size on the flats at the back.
And there's that feeling, isn't it? You know, when you're going to go on, and the tabs are there, you can hear the people.
And the sound of the tinny band coming from the pit through the tannoy. It's just gone on, and the girls going up the steps with the tap shoes on. It's just, I can remember it now like it was. I was when I was 3 years old watching this. Oh, wonderful!
Yeah. And so this is the first theatre I ever came to as a punter.
Yeah.
And actually, it wasn't pantomime. Although I did come to pantomimes with Ryan and Ronnie. I must have seen. Maybe I saw you. You know.
Yeah.
But I remember coming. It's been 10 years old. Me and Ian Govey. We came to the Grand to see A Christmas Carol with Wilfred Bramble. He was Steptoe.
Steptoe.
He was the dad in Steptoe. It was brilliant, and it was just like magic.
Yeah.
Because it was just him and a couple of. It wasn't a big cast, but the ghosts would appear and the smoke.
Yeah.
And technologically, things have changed a lot now. But back in 1969, 1970, it still had that magic for me.
Do you know what? Cinderella, they have a transformation scene. And you can do it without any of the gizmos, and it's amazing. A lot of people don't know how it works. When she's going and getting the stuff, go and get the pumpkin and go and get this, and she's getting ready. And then when she transforms into the dress from the rags, and what happens is a girl dressed exactly the same as her comes on backwards, holding the pumpkin, right? While she's doing that, the girl's changing in the wings, okay? And then she goes off, and the other one comes on and flash, and she's done. But it's done in an instant, and everybody thinks it's magic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's the whole thing about theatre. It is magic. I remember Michael Bogdanov, who was a theatrical genius. But the way that he, because when you've got a camera and you're in a cinema, you follow the camera. It tells you where to go, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With theatre, the director has to make people look that way, so you're not looking over there, or it's like
with lighting.
And it's funny because when you actually film a theatre show just flat on, it looks a bit.
It's a bit naff, work,
because you're not doing that. You're not going with. It's just a static shot. So this theatre, you did it with. Must have done it with Stan.
I did with Stan. That's the first time I worked with Stan.
Yeah.
We did Robinson Crusoe, and it ran for 14 weeks. Unbelievable. We used to go over the little arcade and have a faggot sandwich in between. Or we'd sneak out of the back door to the Volunteers pub, which is no longer there.
Right.
It was because the stage door used to be where the bus station was, and then they knocked it all down. It's all incorporated, I was telling Ian earlier that we're on stage, and one of the stage hands was a coalman in the daytime, see?
Yes.
And but he came late one day, and he'd forgotten he was late. He thought the show hadn't started, and he walked straight across the back of the stage while we're doing a sketch. And he went, "All right, Stan." He had a black face. Stan's in it. "Yeah, all right." Just carried on.
Oh, well, the worst, it's funny, when you do a bit of a week of shows and stuff, there's usually one day when everything goes wrong. It was a terrible Tuesday, and I was doing a show called Copper Kingdom here, and the idea was, I used to go into the pit, right, and then I'd stand on the lift of the pit, and then as the music started, the lift would go up and up and up, so my head would come up above the parapet like that, people in the front row terrified. And then it would gradually get to the right level with the stage. Except for the Tuesday when it didn't. And the poor people in the front row had most of the first song with my head, like a disembodied head on there. And I had one chance to jump out. I couldn't do it now. But the fear drove it in me. And as I got onto the stage, the whole of the band were laughing. They're on stage laughing.
They always had a band in the pit. These days it's click tracking.
Yeah.
I mean, we always had a good. I remember the one in the Swansea ground. It was my rig. His name was Miggs. We used to call him
Miggs.
And I think it was about a 6-piece.
Wow.
I remember when I was in London, I got some arrangements done. He said, "What's this for the pantomime? Is it for the Royal Philharmonic or the local barber?" I said, "It's probably the local barber." I said, so he said, "I'll arrange it accordingly." Not to it. Some of the stuff they can't read.
Oh yeah.
But they were great. They were great sounds, when you've got a band.
Oh, yeah.
You know what it's like. Singing with an orchestra is a different feel.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this before when you record differently now, don't we?
Yeah. But I mean, you just, God willing, places like this will
keep going.
Stay forever, hopefully.
You've got to keep going.
Because, you've got a digital arena in Swansea, which is fantastic. It's 2,000, maybe 3,000 seats. It's got all the gizmos, but it's not quite the same.
No. And these old theatres, they got something in their fabric, isn't it? You go on, as you say, you go on that stage. It's like when I did the Palladium. Well, you've done the Palladium, haven't you? You feel like it's on top of you, and it holds 2,000 people.
How would they do that?
But you feel it's so close.
Yeah.
I remember doing the Fortune Theatre. The Mousetrap's been there for donkey's years, but we did a musical there. And there was no mics. Didn't need them. Because you couldn't really touch the people,
Yeah.
And 2 pianos, that was the back end. 2 pianos, nothing else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, it's lovely to have you in the hood.
I can touch you, look.
I know.
I couldn't do that before.
I just thought, because we don't often get a chance, we should end with a song, Johnny.
What should we do?
I was thinking Sweet Georgie Brown.
Go on then. I don't know, Kay sing it in. Do you know? See?
Well, I'll get my guitar.
Go on then. Get your guitar. You think you are Stan Stennett?
Do you know what? Actually, Sweet Georgie Brown, the first time I played it was with Stan Stennett. It's a lovely Gibson guitar, right? I think that's probably a key. You know what they see?
We'll see. Go on then.
Yeah, if you've got the right key, play 90 flat. 2, 3, 4.
2 left feet, but oh so neat, that Sweet Georgie Brown. They all sigh, wanna die for Sweet Georgie Brown. They all sigh, wanna die for Sweet Georgie Brown. I'll tell you just why.
Just tell me why, Johnny.
You know I don't lie,
Not often.
not much. They all sigh, wanna die for Sweet Georgie Brown. Can't remember the words.
Maybe you're a tap dance instead then.
Say you tap dance.
You do a tap dance, I'll keep on playing. Off you go.
Go on.
Tempo wise, is that fast enough? Take it away, Johnny. Johnny Tudor.
In the flesh!